Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Colton Farmer, better known as Farmer Talking Ball. And this is my first official college football weekend in review. Super excited to be here. If you didn't see, go and head over to my TikTok. The link is in the bio to see my first take of the week. Probably going to have a big take over there on TikTok Tuesday, and I'll have the rest of them here on YouTube on Tuesday night. So, with that being said, we're not going to touch on the Alabama. If you want to see that take, go and head over to TikTok. Try and grow that following as well. But with all further ado, let's go ahead and get started. One of the biggest stories that I saw was Bill Belichick's debut in UNC. He had a first great drive scoring. He scored first drive. It had me thinking, hell, maybe Bill can coach in the college leagues as well. And then the wheels fell off to a tune of 48-14. And the game looked a lot less competitive than that. I just don't understand how a man who's won multiple Super Bowls with his defense intensity and has two sons that coach the defensive side of the ball in the NFL and in college, and they can't stop a TCU team that, in my opinion, is not going to be that great this year. UNC was looking for looking for a change of pace, looking for somebody who's going to bring them back to relevancy. But I don't think it's going to be Bill. So the real question is, how long until Bill Belichick has to step away for medical reasons, a.k.a. Urban Meyer heart attack, when things don't go his way? I don't think Bill's going to stick around and continue to wipe college football players' noses and deal with their basic shit, excuse my French, but deal with their crap and not win games. That was embarrassing for him. It was embarrassing for his legacy. And I said from the get-go, this was a way to get his sons a head coaching job down the road, and it may come sooner than we think. Let's go ahead and touch on a few quarterbacks that played that were supposed to be big-time players. I'll go ahead and start with Sellers from South Carolina. Was not impressed with him. Thought he was just a big, mobile quarterback. Best way to describe him, I'm calling him a Anthony Richards kind of prototype player. He was hyped up to be the next Cam Newton, and honestly, I just did not see it. I think he played a very not great Va-Tech team and struggled for most of the game to move the ball. And only in the end did he score a touchdown or two to make it look a lot more pleasing. I think Sellers is going to be overhyped because he can move. He can throw the ball a little bit the same way that Anthony Richardson was when he came out of college. I don't think that they're going to win a Heisman. I don't think they're going to win a national championship. I don't think anything. So with that being said, I do believe that we need to kind of put the brakes on that front. We'll go ahead and talk about Arch Manning. Promised to be the Heisman front runner, the next great Manning quarterback, first overall pick before even taking a snap, was going to be the next coming of Eli and Peyton, except he's going to be able to move, something the Mannings could never do. Even some of my Titan fellow fans were saying that we should tank for Arch. We shouldn't have drafted Cam. We should have got Arch next year. Yada, yada, yada. And Arch pretty much wetted the bed. There's a lot of stats going around that he had more commercials at one point that were aired than he did completions. Had a terrible interception. Just couldn't move the ball. Now, do I think Arch is going to be a good player? I think he is. I think he has some growing pains, but I did not think it was going to be that big of a issue. But I think he's got some talent. If he can hone it in and that Texas team can get him going, I think we'll be all right. I think he'll be okay. I think Papa Archie was right. He's not coming out after this year because he's not going to be ready. One thing about Peyton and Eli was they had a lot of college starts under their belt before they went to the NFL, which is unheard of nowadays. That's what Arch needs. Ultimately, I think he ran up against a really good defense. I think you'll start seeing better numbers against some less talented teams. But Arch is not the front runner for Heisman right now, in my opinion. There was some other quarterbacks. The quarterback from LSU played pretty well. The quarterback from Clemson played pretty well. My favorite quarterback of the weekend was probably that CJ kid from Notre Dame. Super great player, had a lot of heart, and just basically ran into a buzzsaw that is Miami. So Miami's going to be a lot better this year than what I originally thought they were going to be. I'm going to apologize, hand up. I thought Carson Beck was terrible. Maybe he was just terrible at Georgia. He looked really good against Notre Dame, who usually has a really good defensive front. He was moving the ball really well, played really well, and ultimately was a great reason why they won the game. And the final story is the one I think everybody's been waiting on, and it is the official, unofficial trade from the Vols and UCLA. Now, we didn't actually trade, but for all intents and purposes, we did. Nico went to UCLA, which opened up a spot at Tennessee, and took a spot at UCLA, which Joey Alliger, picked up and went to Tennessee and ran with it. Joey played a great game this week. If you haven't read my recap of it, you can see some of my praises about it. He played really well. Now, he does have some growing pains that he does need to work on. The biggest one being is he does tend to throw a lot of passes high, which I'm happy with, rather be low, interceptable balls. But I do want to get the ball in the breadbasket of my playmakers, my wide receivers, Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley. So if we can bring that down, he gets in the office with Heupel and they can kind of fix that. But other than that, he played a really great game, led some really great drives. And probably my favorite part of the game was when he hooked up with Staley for a 70-yard bomb. That's what all Vols fans have been missing for the past probably year and a half, even going back to the Milton days. Milton had a rocket arm, but he would throw him 20 yards over. And then Nico he couldn't make it out there. So Joey definitely played a lot better than what I feel like Nico would have played. Now, let's get to Nico. A lot of people didn't see it because it came on at 11 o'clock at night, but Nico played like garbage. If you look at the stats, he had a pick and a touchdown, a little over 100 yards. Not a bad day, but when you look at the game film, he's hitting players on the side of the helmet. He's throwing balls at their feet. Just everything Vols fans have grown to hate about Nico. He's a walking toothpick. So after the game, he was limping. I don't recall him getting hit that hard, but he just could not move the ball, and I think UCLA is ready to want to do a tradesy back on the trade. But too bad, UCLA fans, because Joey's home, and he's going to keep playing. Ultimately, Joey definitely played a lot better against, I'd say, the same amount of talent on both teams. Utah's got a good team. Syracuse, don't sleep on them. They got a great head coach, and they got a great team. They're going to do some big things this year, coming off a 10-win season. But I just think UCLA is just not going to be great with Nico. So Nico went to UCLA and took less money to look worse. But I wish nothing for the best for him. I don't want to hold a grudge against him. But I ultimately feel like Nico would have not had the game that Joey had this week. I think Joey fits the offense a lot better than Nico ever did. And we really need to investigate that 2023 quarterback class of Nico, Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, Arch Manning, Arnold, the kid from Auburn. These guys are just mediocre at best quarterbacks until somebody proves me wrong. But that's pretty much it, man. This week's going to be a little bit more of a cupcake schedule for the SEC. But there's a couple good marquee games. And look forward to doing it next week, guys. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe. Love to hear from you. At the end of the day, it's Farmer Talking Ball. Come on.